Yo, what's going on, guys? It's a boy Rolex coming at you with another PUBG Mobile video, and today we'll be talking about my settings and the best settings to improve in PUBG Mobile. This is a highly requested video from you guys, one that you guys have been waiting for a long time, and we are finally here. So if you do enjoy it, leave a like and comment down below as well as to which video you guys want to see next. I'm thinking about making a series on my channel, one of which will be me playing on control layouts from different professional players. So for example, Scout, Mortal, Paraboy, Jonathan, etc. So if you do want to see that, go ahead and let me know. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right to it and hope you guys enjoy. All right, so here we are in the basics panel. We'll be going through each of the panels on the right hand side of the screen, except for the sensitivity, language, and downloads. I made a sensitivity video last week, so if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, there is a link in the description down below for that, as well as on the top right hand side of the screen right now. But again, just as a reminder, I will not be going through my sensitivity in today's video. Aim assist will be the first topic that we discuss. People have always asked me, hey Rolex, do you have aim assist disabled, enabled? What do you think is best? How can I improve? Maybe you are new players to the game. Maybe you guys just, feel like you guys just aren't where you guys want to be. You struggle a lot when it comes to your sprays, your gunfights. I highly suggest that you have aim assist enabled. This is going to help you when it comes to your sprays and your gunfights, and it's going to help you win certain battles that you might not have won when it came to aim assist being disabled. For those of you guys who just feel ready, like you guys have a goal in mind of maybe becoming a professional player and you're being serious, you're playing in scrims, etc. I suggest you have aim assist disabled. Aim assist should be disabled for those that really want to improve, want to push themselves to their maximum ability, and are planning to become professional players. This is something that you should get used to, is having aim assist off. It's going to help you in the long run, and you will become a much better player with time. There are two scenarios that I highly suggest for you to have aim assist turned on, and this is one, when people are snaking, whether it's the end circle in a scrim, in a tournament, or maybe just in a classic match. And two is going to be whenever people are using smokes and people are inside of a smoke, whether they're reviving someone, etc. Obviously, nowadays with the smoke glitch happening pretty often, I suggest to have aim assist enabled. In these two scenarios, it doesn't matter whether you're a professional player, whether it's your first day, have aim assist turned on, because it's going to help you get those kills, those knocks, and you're going to win the game for your team, which is something that we all want to do. So again, aim assist should be enabled in those two scenarios, no matter what kind of player you are. Aim assist should be turned off if you're comfortable and you feel ready and you really want to push yourself and you want to become a better player. And it should be on if you're a new player and you're just getting started, you're playing with friends, and you just don't feel like you're satisfied yet with the performance that you are having. Bolt action rifle and crossbow firing mode, I have it set to tap. Some people have it set to release and they have pretty good success, but me personally, I just use tap. Peek and fire, I have it set to enabled. This is something that you definitely want to have in your game. This is a big mechanic in PUBG Mobile and something that you definitely want to have when it comes to you fighting other squads. Lean mode, I have it set to tap just because I personally don't want to have to hold the button in order for me to be leaning. I prefer tap. Again, remember when I made my video for sensitivity, I touched a little bit on full gyro and the reason for having it on, because you're using less fingers than you have to. This is one of the reasons as well when it comes to lean mode. If you have it set to hold, you have to keep on holding the button. When it comes to tap, you can tap it once and you can use that finger for something else, which is something that's very important. Display left side fire button. This is the other fire button that you guys see on my screen as well when you guys watch my streams. This top right one. You can have it set to disabled or enabled. I have it set to enable just because it never hurts to have two fire buttons. But if you personally maybe just have too much going on your screen and maybe you just want to have one fire button, by all means go ahead and just use one fire button. Block sight warning, I have it set to enabled. Shotgun firing mode, I have it set to tap. Peek and open scope, I have it set to disabled, because sometimes when I'm peeking, it doesn't mean that I want to scope in. If I want to scope in, I'll ADS. It can be sometimes annoying if you have this enabled and you keep on peeking and then you just don't want to scope in right away yet. Scope mode, I have it set to tap. Gyroscope, I have it set to always on. This is something that's very important. I highly recommend for everyone to have gyroscope turned on if your phone supports it. I understand not every device has gyroscope, but for those that do, give it a shot. I know maybe some of you guys are like, you know what, I've been playing this game for 2 years and I just don't want to switch my settings. I feel comfortable the way I am and the way things are, and I just feel like I'm going to be a noob the first week. And the truth is, yeah, you will be a noob. You will be a noob. You're going to lose gunfights. You're going to maybe get dizzy right away. It's going to happen. But trust me when I say that it is worth going full gyro, always on. This is something that definitely helps me out when it comes to the close range fights, and it's helped me out a lot to not have to use a separate finger when it comes to swiping around. Gyroscope, always on. Give it a shot. I promise you won't regret it. Auto open doors, I have it set to enable just so I don't have to use a finger to tap on the open button. Play emote, I have it set to disabled. Slide, I have it set to disabled. Universal mark, disabled. Default parachute follow, disabled, just because many times my entire team is following me. I'm not really following others, and so let's say if I'm AFK once in lobby and I have to follow someone, the next game most likely I won't be AFK, so I don't want to have to just keep pressing the unfollow button. Healing prompt, I have it set to enabled. Jump / climb, I have it set to combine. Damage effect, this is all personal preference, of course, whether you like red or whether you like green. I personally like green. So death replay enabled. This is something that PUBG Mobile recently added in their latest update, and it's something that I highly recommend. In case you guys ever come across hackers, I get tweets almost every day saying that there's hackers in PUBG Mobile and that they're in this server and that. Have your death replay turned on, trust me, because if you feel like something suspicious, you can always go ahead and check it out and see how you died, and you can always record that person and maybe report it to Tencent. Fpp Swap, I have it set to enable just because I want to have that option to be able to swap perspectives if I wish to do so. Many people switch to FPP whenever it comes to close range fights, and it helps them out a lot. I usually don't do that. I probably should give it a try, but I have it enabled. Doesn't hurt. First person perspective camera view. This is how zoomed in your camera is whenever you are in FPP mode. Some people have it set to super zoomed in, maybe because they have a small phone or they have bad eyesight. Others have it set to completely zoomed out because maybe they have an iPad and they just don't need to zoom in. I have it set to 92, kind of in the middle, because I don't want to have to force my eyes to see things, but I also don't want to put myself at a disadvantage and not being able to see others that might be around me to my left or right. So I have it set to 92. Find a sweet spot that you like. 92 though is my preference. And pretty much all of this is just personal preference. It's all about whether I allow people to see my stats, playing the game, they can spectate, Royale Pass information, etc, etc, etc. I have it all set to disabled because I just don't like any of it, except for showing my outfit. That's fine. Graphics, this is something that's very important and critical. Graphics should be set to smooth and extreme all the time. Does not matter what device you have. It doesn't matter if you have the best device out there that's just been released. Smooth and extreme is the way to go. This is what every single professional player uses. You know, people always message me, they tag me, they send a message in my chat and say, hey, my phone always lags, I have this lag. They tag PUBG Mobile saying your game sucks, I'm lagging. A lot of it is because your settings is not optimal. Smooth and extreme is what you want to have. You want to have the smoothest graphics so that way, you know, your device isn't dying fast, it's not overheating, it's not working too hard for you to play the game, and you want to have the highest frame rate so that you are at the best advantage you possibly can be when it comes to gunfights. If you have it set to low, try it out. Try low for one game and you're going to see the difference between low and extreme. You're going to lose many more gunfights than usual. Have it set to extreme. Smooth and extreme is the best thing to do for your graphics. Style, all personal preference. I have it set to colorful. I like colorful. Some people like it realistic, others like it soft. The others to me just seem way too gloomy and just too dull. I like colorful, so that's just what it is. Anti-Alias, I have it set to disabled. This is so to make the texture smoother. I just don't want to have that. I don't need it. And again, all I want to do is just have the best advantage I possibly can with my settings. I don't want to have these fancy, you know, best graphics and stuff like that. It doesn't matter to me. If it matters to you, maybe you should try something else. But again, we're talking about best ways to improve in PUBG Mobile for your settings. Smooth and extreme is the way to go. Colorblind mode. If you're colorblind, go ahead and check out whichever one that you know, you are affected by. I like Protanopia. I'm not colorblind. I just like the colors. Don't ask why. I'm weird. Brightness I have set to 118. When it comes to Erangel, and sometimes you get the fog mode, turn that down just a tiny bit. You want to have it set to 80 because that way you can see more clearly through the fog. Have it set to 80 if you get those fog game modes. I have it set to like 112, 118, 120. Many cases though, I do have it set to 150, but 120 is actually a nice sweet spot to have it at. So again, big tip when it comes to fog, whether it's Erangel or Sandhawk, turn that baby down to 80. And when it comes to regular games, just have it set to 120. Works. Non-standard screens, this of course is dependent on what kind of phone you have. If you have, let's say, OnePlus 8 Pro, the OnePlus 8 Pro has rounded corners. So go ahead and put rounded corners. If you have a notch like the iPhone 10, go ahead and put notch. If your phone is just a regular phone, it doesn't have any of that, put it set to normal. And auto adjust graphics, I have it set to disabled because I already decided which graphics I want. Why is the game going to decide what graphics I'm going to have mid-game? You definitely don't want to switch your graphics mid-game. That is not something that's ideal, so auto adjust disabled. When it comes to vehicle controls, I have it set to the first mode, which is button controls. Some people have it to single joystick, others have it to split joystick. If you feel like you're crashing all the time, I would highly suggest that if you are crashing and you use number one the way I do, try out single joystick. At first it's going to be a little wonky, you're going to be moving like crazy, and you might even do some crazy turns every now and then, but I think you'll get used to it. Go ahead and just mix it up a little bit if you just aren't the best driver. And of course the music I have it set to disable it because music is just annoying. Pickup, here we go. We got auto pickup enabled. We want to be able to loot as fast as we can because positioning is critical. Remember that positioning is critical in the circle. Loot as fast as you can. Auto pickup pistols, I have it set to disabled. Stop auto pickup when list is collapsed, I have it set to enable just because I don't want to keep picking things up over and over again. And auto pickup level 3 backpacks enabled because why not? Level 3 is the best. Set ammo pickup, I usually have the weapons that use 5.56 set to 360, as you guys can see. Things that are set to lower than that are usually 7.62 weapons because I usually use 5.56 guns. Recovery item, I use 0 med kits. First aid kits, I use 4. Bandages, I use 5. Energy drinks 3. Painkiller 3. And adrenaline syringe 1. Always carry bandages. 5 to 10 is my recommendation. I have it set to 5. But make sure that you have bandages turned on, at least a few of them. The med kit, I personally am not a fan of it. It takes up way too much storage space in your backpack, and I would prefer having more first aid kits. Energy drinks and painkillers, 3 is more than enough from each. And adrenaline syringe, sometimes you just gotta use that adrenaline syringe and fully boost up. You don't have much time, so I use 1. And here we are with the utilities. Remember that utilities are your best friend. Make sure to not skip out on these. This is something that can drastically change a gunfight from a 2v4 to a 2v1. And grenades are something that are so critical in this game, and I see so many people just neglect it and ignore them. Make sure to have at least 3 to 4 frag grenades, 7+ smokes, and 1 or 2 molotovs. If you're not carrying at least 5+ smokes, you are doing something wrong. You need to make sure to have smokes in case anything happens. What if a teammate gets knocked? What if zone isn't on you and you have to rotate and you don't have a car? Make sure that you have smokes in your backpack, so that way later on you're not getting sprayed down in the wide open field. Make sure to carry grenades, smokes, and mollies all the time. I use 3, 9, and 2. People can do 4, 6, and 2, 4, 6, and 1. Maybe you guys want to have 5 frag grenades and 5 smokes, 6 smokes. That works. Just make sure to pick these up when you're looting. Again, I have it set to auto pickup because you want to be as fast as possible with looting. You do not want to waste any time. And the scope pick a limit, I have pretty much all of them set to disabled except for the 6x and the 8x because it's just annoying whenever you're looting. What if you don't need a scope anymore and it keeps picking up a 3x? It keeps picking up a 4x. The 6x and 8x are pretty rare anyway, so if you do see those in the backpack, it'll automatically pick them up, which is something that is nice. We can go through the other weapons if you like. We have the Marksman Rifles. I have it set to pretty low except for the QBU. Again, this is a 5.56 weapon, so same with the Mini. I have it set to pretty high just because most likely I'll find an M4, I'll find a SCAR, I'll find an AUG, and I want to have some ammo left over. Sniper rifles, I usually have it set to around 30. That's pretty good. You won't really need many more. SMGs, I have it set to pretty much everything 90 except for the Uzi, and you guys already know why. Uzi can be one of your best buddies when it comes to close range fights. Shotguns, you don't really use them unless you're like in the very beginning. I have it set to 20. Pretty standard except for the DBS. I have it set to 30. LMG, I have it set to 360. Again, this is a 5.56 weapon. I kind of like carrying a lot of ammo because I like spraying a lot, so 360 for the M249. The DP28, I have it set to 180. Pretty good standard ammo. Pistols are practically all 15 except for the sawed-off. Not sure why the sawed-off is considered a pistol. Most likely it's because it fits into that third slot, but it is a shotgun. It uses 12 gauge, so flare guns. Put that baby to max. You always want to have 10 flares. Just kidding. When do you ever find 10 flares, right? And other crossbow, usually 5 and RPG 7s. That's for certain arcade modes, but I don't really play that. So let's go ahead and go to scope. Scope. Here we have no scope, and this is basically all personal preference. Whatever colors you guys enjoy. I personally like having that, not that hot pink, but that you know, a little bit of a soft pink color. And same with the red dot, the holographic, the 2 times, and the 3 times. The red dot, I like having this sort of crosshair, half triangle, so to speak. That is something that I enjoy, pretty accurate with it. The other ones can sometimes be a little bit complicating, so I like having the second one or the dot. Those are pretty good. And of course, quick scope switch, you want to have this definitely enabled. This is something that you definitely want to have because you want to be able to switch scopes really quick. They've added this 3 or 4 updates ago. It's been here for a while now, almost a year. So quick scope switch, definitely have it enabled. And here we have audio. I have it set to high. Many people have it set to ultra. I do not know why. Probably I personally like high. I'm just, I guess, old-fashioned, old school with how the game started. And voice, I have it set to high with the microphone because you want to have your teammates be able to hear you. And speaker, I have it set to kind of a little bit low. If you have it too high, you're going to hear the all chat yelling at you at how much you suck. So that's pretty much it. The next ones are languages and downloads. Controls, I'll be having another video, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel. And if you guys have any questions as well with anything, go ahead and comment down below. And I'll be more than happy to answer if you guys have anything that you guys were a little bit confused about. But yeah, so stay tuned for some awesome videos that are coming. And I'm actually moving within the next week, so I'm looking forward to that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment down below for which video you want to see next, and I'll see you guys till next time. Peace.